Welcome to the Kill Shot MMA podcast for UFC Fight Night Bautista versus Oliveira. I'm Sniper. With me, as always, is Monk. We got 13 fights on this card. We're going to break down 12 of them because we did lose a fight. It was supposed to be, I believe it was Veretennikov versus Jose Enrique. Enrique pulls out. Nico Price steps in. That fight we don't have DraftKings salaries for, and that is a big part of what we cover here. So we're going to leave that for the VIP members at DFS Army. You want to join DFS Army, get more breakdowns, access to more tools, ownership projections, optimizers, all that stuff. Link in the description. Go check that out. But we're going to break down all 12 fights, give a little bit of DraftKings strategy, and talk all things UFC before we have a week off next week. And Monk, it's the last time me and you are going to be doing a show for 3 weeks. So we're off next week. I'm going to be out the next 2 weeks. I will be in sunny Hawaii. I know nobody feels bad for me. Monk's going to handle the DFS Army content. If able, I'm going to jump on and do solo videos, but all the good notes and all that stuff will be up at DFS Army. Check my YouTube channel at Sniper Wins, at DFS Army for the DFS Army stuff that Monk will be able to do solo. And make sure you go check out Monk's Patreon. More stuff there at Monk Maddox. Monk MMA TICS. Big intro this week. Monk, you haven't jumped in yet, but I think a lot of good stuff there. How are you doing, my friend?
Not too bad. It's 70 degrees in Texas, so you'd never know that the whole city was shut down for 5 days last week. Yeah.
Someone in the Northeast, fuck off. It's 0.
Dude, yeah, it's
awful.
I mean, don't feel bad for me, but it was the whole fucking city shut down, which is why I was not here last week. It was pretty ridiculous for like 2 inches of snow. It was crazy and some ice to be fair.
Over a foot and it's 0 degrees, but
yeah. But yeah, I'm ready to get into this one, man, for sure.
All right, decent week last week. I won't lie and call it a smash, but it definitely wasn't a disaster. Definitely not a disaster. And I just saw me, if you're watching on YouTube, you see me check my phone. I have to make the early drive tomorrow to bring my daughter to morning sports. So I'm going to send a quick message to my wife before we jump in to the actual show here.
Yeah, it's going to be a decent card here. Like you said, 12 fights. I know Nico Price stepping in on short notice should be pretty interesting for sure. But yeah, we've got it's a good main card for sure too.
I think Veretennikov got a harder fight there.
Probably, unless we see the Nico Price of the Robbie Lawler fight, then he didn't.
Who knows? Anyway, all right. Appreciate the fill there. A little bit of stall time. Let's go ahead and let's pull up the fights here and let's jump into the first fight of the night. Priscila Cachoeira taking on Klaudia Sygula. Priscila is the underdog here at plus 125. Sygula at minus 145. I hesitated because I didn't know which way this fight was going to be lined because it's pure chaos. It is minus 130 to end inside the distance. DraftKings salaries for this one. It's actually closed a little bit, I think, from where the initial line was. But Sygula is 8,600. Cachoeira is 7,600. Monk, interesting in terms of salary construction this week. A lot of times, sometimes the mid-range fights are great fights to target. Overall this week, the mid-range is kind of a dumpster fire with a couple of exceptions. I do think this is one of the exceptions. What do you have for this fight?
Yeah, for sure. Do not overlook this fight just because of who the names are. Like you said, 86, 7,600. Cachoeira's, lost 3 of her last 5, but every single one of those fights has ended in a finish, and 3 of them have ended under like 2.5 minutes, basically. We're right around there. Sygula has only been finished in the UFC. She's only had 2 UFC fights, but did get finished against Mullins in just, right after the second round started pretty much. Cachoeira hits like a truck, man, but her defense is probably some of the worst I've ever seen, at least in this division for sure. It's very, very
Cachoeira right there. There's no defense.
Yeah, none, 0 whatsoever. But she can occasionally take shots and deliver hard shots back herself. I said hard shots back, not the other way around, so don't get it twisted. But yeah, Sygula is looking okay. I mean, she throws heavy volume, 5.3 per minute. I think she cleared 100 strikes in her last fight. So yeah, her defense is looking a little better, but again, it's a very small sample size. So get these women in your lineups. I'm probably going to pick Sygula to win because you just can't trust Cachoeira, but at the same time, this is definitely not one to skip on GPPs. I'm going to look to be a little bit over the field on probably both sides for sure.
I agree with that. This is not a card where we're spoiled for choice in terms of fights to target. This is probably one of the top 4 or 5 fights to target. There, you kind of hit on the key points there. There's no defense in this fight either way. Like there just isn't. Priscilla Cachoeira is the closest thing the UFC any of the women's divisions has to a Terrence McKinney. Just kill or be killed. She surprises before it wins. It's a high volatility fight. I'm okay being overweight to both. I have to pick Sygula because she hits hard. She's the harder of the 2 hitters in a fight with 0 defense. That's really what it comes down to. Slightly better. And at some point, all the damage is going to catch up to Priscilla. You would think, regardless. To recap, I know we said it a couple of times, overweight to both. And Sygula is the pick for the fight. Jakub Wikłacz and Muin Gafurov. Gafurov is the favorite at -125. Wikłacz comes in at +101. Fight, I believe it is, goes to decision, ever so slightly favored, -120, -140 over at my bookie, so slight lean towards the going all 3 rounds for this one. DraftKings salaries, Gafurov 8,200, Wikłacz is 8,000, another mid-range fight. And again, it's not the worst of the 4 mid-range fights, not the best. I think we just covered the best, but it's probably in that second spot. So a decent one here. For me, Monk, when I look at this line, I think, what does Jakub Wikłacz have to do to get respect? Like, I'm not saying he's a world beater, but he came from a great organization. He beat Patchy Mix in his UFC debut as a dog, which, by the way, we did call on this podcast. Wink, wink, nod, nod. But now he's a dog here to Muin Gafurov? Not sure I get it. What do you think?
Yeah, immediately when I saw this, I wanted to pick Wikłacz, ride the win streak here. Well, it's not a streak since it's 1 in the UFC, but it's starting to be if he gets another one. And Patchy Mix, that was just great. That was just fantastic to watch. If you're cheering on Wikłacz like I was. Gafurov just beat Rinny Nakamura. Not killed him, but he beat him relatively handily. Out-controlled him, outstruck him, and not a ton of stuff happened in that fight. He beats Kyung Ho Kang before that. And he's losing to not terrible people in the UFC in Castaneda and Said Nurmagomedov. The only issue here that I'm seeing is Gafurov has attempted 1 takedown, 3 takedowns, 1 takedown in his last 3 fights. So that's 5 total. He attempted 6 against Castaneda and then 12 in his DWCS fight. So he has attempted more in the Castaneda fight than in his last 3 fights combined. The Said Nurmagomedov fight you can probably throw out. That's only 1 minute long. The other 2 were 15 minutes and against some competent people on the ground for the most part. Wikłacz got taken down 5 to 7 times by Patchy Mix. So if Gafurov is takedown heavy, I would worry about Wikłacz a bit because Gafurov does have some. He's got some striking for the he doesn't throw a ton of volume, but he's got 10 KO TKOs, which is probably 11 more than Patchy Mix has. And so Wikłacz has got to be worried about fighting a non-one-dimensional fighter. That's my only question mark with this one. I want to pick Wikłacz here, but I think you can be fine just playing both sides a little bit in GPPs. I do want to pick Wikłacz. We'll have to see what I end up with when I do my fight picks later on, but I think for now it just makes sense to probably pick Gafurov by decision. I just need to see a little bit more of Wikłacz. He's not fighting a one-dimensional fighter, like I said, and Gafurov has looked okay to decent in his last 2 fights. So that's why I'm leaning with the Tajik here, but don't be surprised if you see Wikłacz as my pick once I put those out later tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pick Wikłacz. Look, not that Muin Gafurov has 0 striking, but your TKO KO numbers are, he's knocking out Tajikistan garbage truck drivers.
Yeah, that's true.
Like a lot of that is included in there. He racked up a lot of fights in the regional scene, and he did fight in 1, and 20-6 is inflated. Like some of those, let's go ahead and throw out. He had a good knockout in LFA. I think he had a couple in LFA, remember, but it's not like he's get some huge power striker. And I think Wikłacz, again, I just think he's being really undervalued in this spot. Like KSW is a legit promotion, and he won the belt there, defended the belt there a few times. The one loss I saw on tape from him anytime recently was a body shot, which I don't think Gafurov really has. It's the takedowns. I do, as much as we shit on Patchy Mix, I think he's got better takedowns than Muin Gafurov, and it's not like Mix did enough with those takedowns to win the fight against Wikłacz. I'm not saying this is a slam dunk, by the way. I just disagree with the odds. I thought Wikłacz would come in here at like minus 150. I just think it's lined incorrectly is more my point. So that's going to be my pick. It is a GPP fight. I'm probably going to look to get a few like field weight on Wikłacz and over on field weight on Gafurov and over on Wikłacz, just based on ownership. That is fundamental to the DFS strategy we talk about is ownership. Fight breakdown wise, I do think there is value on Wikłacz. Eduardo Moura taking on Cong Wang or Wang Cong. I never know what the Chinese fighters which name is fucking first. Cong is minus 350. Moura is plus 285 because they're listed differently no matter wherever you look.
Yeah.
Fight goes to decision is minus 155. Your DraftKings salaries for this one. Cong is 9,200. Moura is 7,000. Wang Cong has burned some people before. She's put up some big scores before. Kind of a weird one to figure out. I have my thoughts, but what do the stats say on your side?
Yeah, 9,200 is a pretty big salary for Miss Wang Cong here. I'm going to pick her to win, but I don't know that she pays off that salary, man. Mora's never been finished. She's got decent striking defense throughout 5, or I don't know if she had a DWCS fight. She did. So 4 technical UFC fights and then that DWCS fight. She's allowing less than 2.5 per minute at a 61.5% striking defense. She controls 87% of the grappling time. She lands takedowns at 1.25 per 5 minutes, which is a crazy high number. Wang Cong is more of the striker, the volume striker. So far, 7.5 per minute. Her defense is also good, 2.6 allowed, 63%. She also controls about 86% of the grappling time, but the takedowns are farther and fewer between. I just think I didn't hear your ITD line for this one, but I assume it's
goes to decision.
Go
like
to
minus,
decision. Yeah, I can't bet. I think it's going to be a decision too.
Minus
I think Cong's going to
155.
win. Yeah, I don't know how you can play Wang Cong at 9,200 unless she's going to find that finish. I mean, against Victoria Leonardo, it was 1 minute, just outside of 1 minute. She scored 104. In her DWCS fight, it was 3 minutes. It would have been 113. And then the 2 decisions, while she did score well above average for the division at 81.5 and then 98, that's not going to be enough at 9,200 to land optimally. So I'm going to be a little bit hesitant on this one, picking Wang Cong, but I'll probably be under the field as a whole to this one. You know, Moura, I'm not just counting out or anything, but you know, if she lands rinse and repeat takedowns on Wang Cong, not that we are expecting that, but it looks like actually, yeah, Cong has 100% takedown defense, so no one's taken her down yet. Somebody attempted it 4 times. It looked like it would have been De Silva in the last fight, and we saw how that went. Not well for Ariane De Silva. So I got to pick Cong, but I'm not certain she pays off 9,200 this week.
Pretty much agree all around. Eduardo Moura has got to get takedowns, I think, to win this fight. And I just don't think she's going to be able to do it. That being said, Cong's price point is the real issue. This is one where we totally agree. You got Donchenko up at 9,600. We can talk about Horiguchi. That's probably a toss-up, honestly, in terms of scoring. But then a little bit cheaper than Wang Cong is Oleg Jashuk and the main event. Like, how much are you really going to be able to get her in? I don't see her as a priority. Eduardo Moura, I guess in a win, I don't know. In a win, I guess she gets takedowns and scores decent. She's not the worst underdog because there are some that I really hate. So I'm probably going to be about field weight on her just because I'll have the ownership to spread out. Feels like a stay away fight here. It's probably in terms of betting, it feels lined correctly all the way around. Maybe a little bit of value on Moura, but not much. Like it's one of those fights that is on the card. Not the worst women's fight I've ever seen, but I'm not terribly interested in from a betting or DFS perspective. I just want to stay underweight and away from this one. But gun to a head, make a pick. It will be the favorite in Wang Cong. Said Nurmagomedov and Javid Basharat, one of the two Basharat brothers on this card, just to drive everybody absolutely batshit crazy. Nurmagomedov is the dog. Okay, we'll talk about this. Plus 110 on Nurmagomedov. Basharat is minus 130. Fight goes to decision. Minus 260. Say off the top. Actually, let's do the DraftKings salaries. Basharat's 8,300. Said is 7,900. Yes, he's a Nurmagomedov. You should know by now, this is not a grappling Nurmagomedov. This is a Muay Thai kickboxing Nurmagomedov. Pretty strictly. I think both these guys are not as good as advertised, but I think Basharat falls more in Javid Basharat is more in that category of definitely not as good as we thought he was. And I'm surprised, clearly by my intro, that Said is a underdog. Monk, who do you have in this one?
Yeah, I got to go with Said Nurmagomedov here. I mean, he's taken some tough losses, 3 out of 4, but it's to Jonathan Martinez, Vinicius Oliveira, also on this card, and then Bryce Mitchell. And no matter what you think about Mitchell, he has talent as far as fighting goes. And he knows what to do in many positions. Not so much striking for the most part, but everything else he's pretty solid on. So he's losing to 3 pretty decent guys. He beats Gafurov, who we just talked about. Basharat's coming off 2 losses to 2 very good guys as well, Ricky Simone, Ayman Zahabi. The thing is here, is Said going to be able to, we know he's going to get go for takedowns. Is he going to be able to complete them? Because he completes them at about 15% accuracy, which is not good. And no matter what, I agree with what you said about Javid. Only 2 people have taken him down. He stuffed 2 Ricky Simone takedowns, got taken down once, and he stuffed actually 3 people. And then he stuffed 9 from Mendonça. He stuffed 11 takedowns from Tony Gravely as well. So that is somewhat impressive. He lands a ton of volume. What we never see in Said Nurmagomedov fights is volume. Like there's fights where 18 strikes or less than 20 strikes have been thrown in like 9 minutes. We just don't see a ton of striking because he's either getting takedowns and then bettering his position, going for the submissions, or he's dancing around. He can't get takedowns and no one's really throwing strikes because his opponent doesn't want to get taken down. Basharat is going to be pretty heavy on the feet, and so Nurmagomedov is going to be forced, obviously, to shoot takedowns there if he can get them.
He's not going to shoot though. He's not a shooting. He's not a wrestling.
Well, he's like a not like that, but he is going for a ton of takedowns overall, like quote unquote takedowns, like 1 of 9 against Oliveira. He's shot 5 against DSDA, 2, 1, 1. So he's getting them in these longer fights. He's definitely having to, longer fights, not against wrestlers. He's definitely shooting several takedowns or throws or whatever you might want to call them at that moment. Bottom line is Basharat has the better offense overall. Is it going to be stifled by Nurmagomedov? I tend to think so. I don't like how Javid Basharat performs when he takes a step up. So I got to go with Said Nurmagomedov here. Not excited for this one for DraftKings, but I'm taking the cheaper fighter at 7,900.
Yeah, I don't like that. That is the headline here. Don't like this one for DraftKings. I think it's gonna be on the feet. On the feet, I think it ends up low volume, and Said, I think, wins a kickboxing battle. Close fight. It kind of reminds me of the Ayman Zahabi fight for Javid Basharat, and that fight, both guys had like 75 strikes, and Ayman won a decision. It very much reminds me of that fight. Like that's how I picture this one. Just not good scoring. I do think Said's a slightly better striker. I guess Javid might have the better DFS upside because if he wins, he might be able to grapple. I just don't think he can in the matchup. So give me Said Nurmagomedov, but a downer fight for me for DFS. Bruna, Brazil, taking on Ketlen Souza. Ketlen Souza is the favorite at minus 160. Bruna, Brazil is plus 140. Your fight goes to decision, is a giant minus 325. Very likely we're going to see 3 rounds of action here. Your DraftKings salary, Ketlen Souza is 8,400. Bruna, Brazil is 7,800. Monk, while we don't have one in terms of the odds that says good for DraftKings, do we at least have an underdog to attack here?
I don't know, man. I mean, 7,800. If she was like 74, then maybe, but 78 is going to be pretty tough for Brazil to pay off if this goes to decision. against Shauna Bannon, 72, against Molly McCann, 81, against Ming Shi, it was 56. Cong Wang scored 82 on her in a decision, and Loma Lookboonmee put up 62 in the decision. So no points are being scored in Bruna Brazil fights unless she's getting knocked out early, or if she's getting a knockout, which she's only done against Marnik Man on a DWCS fight. Ketlen Souza is fighting pretty stiff competition so far.
To be fair, Ketlen Souza couldn't finish Marnik Man.
That is true. That is true. She did fight Karina Silva, Angela Hill, Pierre Rodriguez. So all those are L's, but they did all go to decision. Especially, I mean, the other two aren't surprising, but actually Silva didn't go to decision. It is surprising that Pierre Rodriguez,
a highlight reel submission that still makes me sick a little bit.
That's true.
That's the knee bar bending backwards.
Yeah, it was surprising that Pierre Rodriguez didn't finish her. I don't know. This is like a coin flip that I really don't want any part of for the most part. These salaries are a bit too high for me. I'd rather play Nurmagomedov than Brazil and pay an extra $100, but I guess I am going to pick Bruna Brazil. It's probably the UFC competition that she's fought is better overall. She just has no one's been impressive in these two fights for these two women, I should say. So I'm going with Brazil. Not looking forward to playing this one either. Like I said, I'd rather play Saeed than her pay an extra 100.
It's one of those weeks where we actually agree a little bit, except that I like Bruna Brazil a little bit more than you. Not much. It's not a slam. Again, it's not. I have to decide whether I'm going to make this bet at plus 140. Kind of interests me a little bit, and the reason being is that, and you're the stats guy, so I'm surprised you didn't bring up Ketlen Souza's 50% takedown defense.
Yeah,
it's bad. Yeah. Like it's Andrew Hill took her down twice. Marnik Man took her down twice. Okay, and Ketlen Souza. Bruna Brazil on the other hand, I mean, she got takedowns against Shiming, 3 against Molly McCann, 1 against Loma Lookboonmee, which is probably, she goes for them in fights. Close fight. Thinks she can get a takedown here. Got a pretty clear path to victory. That also helps in DFS, and that I think makes it probably the least interesting DFS fight on the card. Why I'm not going to fade the underdog, because she can grapple. It's a clear path to victory. It's a high volatility fight. 7,800 on a card where I don't like a ton of dogs. I guess you could say that every week that there were underdogs for a reason. I will tell you, let's do the count. I picked Wikłacz, which I guess counts. I like all the mid-range dogs, huh? Bruna Brazil, Saeed Nurmagomedov, and Jakub Wikłacz. That helps me a little bit. But other than that, I have one like standout dog pick. And then the mid-range. So that mid-range is going to be helpful to me this week when I start building lineups. Bruna Brazil will be in that mix, and I think there's value because of her takedown upside. And just being live for your underdog bets, if you want to go that route. Alex Morono taking on Daniil Donchenko. I don't know why he's listed as Daniel Donchenko. I feel like Fight Odds really fucked that one up.
Yeah, they did.
Donchenko is minus 650. Morono is plus 425. Fight ends inside the distance, minus 400. Fight ends under 1.5 rounds, minus 140. DraftKings salaries, Donchenko, the most expensive fighter on the card at 9,600. Morono at 6,600. Monk, the question we ask every week in these situations, is the price worth it?
Yeah, I made a vow to not play any more of the most expensive fighter on the card as far as cash lineups go. It's going to be tough to get away from this one.
Yep.
It's going to be real tough because I know Donchenko only has one fight, but he averaged almost 9 strikes a minute. He landed at least 1 takedown, but it was a short fight. I believe it was 1 of 3, and it only took, it was finished inside the first round. Morono's got a 47.8% takedown defense. He gets out controlled. He almost gets outstruck, and he lands 5 strikes a minute. So I don't know what his accuracy is terrible. It's like 40%. So if Donchenko comes here at the top of his game and Morono looks like the 35-year-old Morono that he is, with his relatively poor defense and striking only, game plan, it's really not going to go well for him. So I got to really look at some of these spots if I'm going to, not play Donchenko because it's extremely, extremely tempting. I mean, Nico Price took this dude down 5 of 5 times, control him for 3 minutes. Court McGee, Buckley. I mean, this dude gets taken down in like half of his fights at least in his last 10. So Morono's got the experience. I was going to say could be tough to finish, but he's been KO TKO'd 3 times in the UFC, twice in the very first round. So I would say pick Daniil Donchenko and probably get him in your lineups because Morono's got no defense and no offense other than his 5 strikes a minute.
Look, you're going to hear a lot of people like Monk shit on Alex Morono all week. And I'm not going to pick him, to be clear. But let's give this man his flowers. Heading into 2024, you know how many UFC wins Alex Morono has? He's got 13. He's 13. He was 13 wins, 6 losses, 1 no contest in the UFC. Like, the dude was one of those guys who was always counted out and would find a way to win fights. I mean, he was beating Matthew Semmelsberger, got the win over Cowboy Cerrone towards the end of Cerrone's career, but fine. Beat a game Max Payne Griffin, beat Song Kanan, beat Zach Otto, like has got some beat Kyle Noak back when, 13 UFC wins is nothing to fucking sneeze at. And he's lost 3 in a row since then, 13-9, 1 no contest. His 23rd, 24th UFC fight. Damage is an issue, man. Like it just is. He's slowing down, Father Time undefeated, all that stuff. And I only say that not to make really a case for him, but because I feel like people are just going to shit all over him this week. And it kind of fucking bothers me. Like, he is always game, down to scrapped, good dude. Like, I'm a fan of Alex Morono. That being said, the way Donchenko fights in this, he fought in the Senzanando fight, which was the tough finale. That's how he fought all Ultimate Fighter season. That's how he fights. He's a move forward. I referenced Terrence McKinney once in this podcast already. Let's do it twice. He's that aggressive, little more defensively responsible, still on the reckless side, but he's aggressive. And against a guy like Morono aging, that's an issue. So I do think Donchenko's live for all the big scores. He's hittable, though. He's not defensively responsible. So if Morono's going to be 5% owned, I'll take my 5%. Maybe I'll even take 7. Like, people are going to say a lot of bad things about Alex Morono. And for what it's worth, this is only Donchenko's second UFC fight. I do think he wins. I'll probably play him in cash. I'm likely overweight to both sides because it won't take much to get over on Morono. And Donchenko, while he's going to be chalk, it's likely chalk I'm going to eat because I like him more than every other fighter except one above 8,600. So it just is what it is. Fitting him is going to be difficult, but I do want to get overweight. I do want to make it happen, and I just had to take a second to give Alex Morono his flowers. Dustin Jacoby versus Julius Walker. Jacoby is the favorite, minus 180. Walker is at plus 155. Fight, I'm going to assume it ends inside the distance. Yeah, but it's not by as much as you would think for light heavyweights. Hence, inside the distance is minus 155. Your DraftKings salaries here. Jacoby's 8,700. Walker 7,500. Monk, who you got? Oh, can't hear you, Monk.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Probably Jacoby. Because we were just talking about experience. This dude has like 17 UFC fights, over 30 fights total, and Walker's on his 9th total professional fight. That said, Dustin Jacoby scores only 83 when he wins via decision, and I believe, like you said, his salary is a bit above that at 8,700. Both these guys have terrible defense overall. I mean, Jacoby's takedown defense is 65%. Which could come into play here since Julius Walker decided to, throw a bunch of takedowns in both of his fights. Menefield, when she took the L, and then Circaria, who's a terrible, terrible fighter, was taken down 6 of 10 times. So Jacoby also loses to Menefield, but he's losing to Reyes. He's losing to Mirzakhanov and then Khalil Roundtree Jr. in his last few fights. That's nothing to be sad about or anything. Walker just hasn't proven himself. He's only beaten, like I said, Rafael Circaria, and he's thrown a ton of strikes and he's going for a ton of takedowns. Now, if Dustin Jacoby can stop takedowns, like I said, his takedown defense is not the best, but in his last 10 fights, I think he's only been taken down once. in like 2 or 3 fights, and that's it. So nobody's attempting a ton of takedowns on him. Mirzakhanov went 1 for 5. And that's
Petrino
probably
went over 4, and I think Jacoby put a lot of work into a lot of work in that camp 2 fights ago.
For sure. So hopefully he's still got some of that left. If he can stuff Julius Walker's takedowns, this is not going to be a tough fight for him, I don't think. He's probably the better striker overall. I know he is 37 years old. There's an 11-year age gap here, and Walker's looked decent as far as his volume. But we really will have to see where both of these guys are at as far as their careers, if Walker is improving or if Dustin Jacoby is looking a bit older, a bit slower, because both of their defenses are suspect. Walker has good takedown control defense, but we're not going to expect to see that from Dustin Jacoby. So expect a stand and bang type of fight, maybe more calculated than bang, I should say, since the go-to decision is not as wide as we thought it would be. But Julius Walker, if he decides to land takedowns and if he's getting them, this could get real interesting in the later rounds. So I'll play a little bit of both sides here, but unless there's a finish, we're probably not going to see Jacoby pay off the salary, and I am picking him to win. So I'll probably be field weight, maybe slightly over to Walker, just in case he is getting those takedowns.
Yeah, I pretty much am on the same page again here. I'm going to pick Dustin Jacoby because I don't think Walker can get takedowns. I don't like how he looked in the Sygula fight. Sygula is the worst fighter on the UFC roster. If he wasn't cut, I don't even know. I don't want to think about that guy. He's good for you, man. Dustin Jacoby is aging but I think he's the better technical striker. Light heavyweight, the heavier divisions, you can be older and get away with it, just how it tends to work out. I think Jacoby wins the fight. I think he's got a little bit of sneaky upside here. This is a fight I'd actually be underweight to because I don't think we see a lot of wrestling. I would be if it wasn't for the card. Like, I can rattle off 6 fights I like less than it immediately. I'll do that. We got a minute. Nurmagomedov, Basharat, Bruna, Brazil, Ketlen, Souza. Probably the other Basharat, Matsumoto, Horiguchi, Albazi, Moura, Cong. Did I get to 6 yet? Pretty close. And it's probably pretty close to the
I think that was
Wikłacz Gafurov fight too. Probably in that same ballpark. So not one I need a bunch of exposure to. I do like Dustin Jacoby. I'm not a believer in Julius Walker. Age and damage could play a factor, but until I see it, Jacoby's my man in this fight. John Matsumoto taking on the other Basharat brother on the card, Farid Basharat. Farid is at -275. Matsumoto is +235. Fight ends inside the distance, is not favored. Fight goes to decision, is -325. That is a big number. Should screen play Matsumoto in cash games. Your DraftKings salaries. Basharat's 9,000. Matsumoto is 7,200. Monk, my strongest take on the card is right here, so I'm going to give no intro and kick it to you.
I'm going to pick Basharat, but this one is interesting just because of the salaries here. Matsumoto 7,200. When he loses, I guess he's only lost once. He lost the Rob Font fight, scored 84 points. That is very, very interesting. I need to look at that and make sure that's right. That seems
it is. No,
excuse me. That just seems high.
It is. He got a bunch of takedowns, a bunch of, I think it was like 7 takedowns, control time, and he just nonstop landed the insignificant strikes. Like, he had it's something wild. He had tons of strikes in the fight, tons of takedowns, tons of control time. Maybe a couple reversals in there. I have to look. No reversals. I happen to have it up.
Yeah, that was a good performance. The other thing is Matsumoto, because I'm thinking Basharat's not going to pay off 9K, but then I look at how many points Matsumoto's opponents score when he wins, and the average of that, it's like 63 average. His low allowed is 58 points in a 3-round fight, and his high allowed in wins for his opponents is 66. So that is an abnormal amount of points to give up when you're winning a fight, which means the fights are relatively close for the most part, it would seem like. And I just like Basharat a little bit more overall.
I can explain. Sorry, I just because I don't want to lose it. Repeatedly in his career, he gets taken down and he gets right back up because he's working. People want to take him down, and he's worked his get up game. So he gives up a lot of rinse and repeat takedowns. but he gets up and then he wins the fight on the feet. That's just the explanation to the points.
Well, that is good for Basharat because he lands 1.2 takedowns per 5 minutes, controls almost 90% of the grappling time, and he does not get almost outstruck. I guess Matsumoto's even as far as his plus minus on strikes landed. It's 5.43 allowed and 5.43 landed. His accuracy and his defense is really bad. Overall, his takedown defense is very, very bad at 54%. And he gets out controlled for the most part, like we said, 60-40. I think Basharat's just more well-rounded. I think he's shown it. He's got a much better strength of schedule overall. The Chris Gutierrez win, and I can't stand Chris Gutierrez, so that was awesome. Not much happened in that one, and that's the issue here. He doesn't score well in these decisions. It's 65, 88, 86. Cledson Rodriguez, he put up 111. Otherwise, it's 82 against Damone Blackshear, and that's not going to pay off 9K. So we're going to have to get rinse and repeat takedowns. We're going to have to get some control time, and he's going to have to show some of that defense, the striking defense that he has been showing. He's going to have to keep that up. So I just think, according to the numbers, Basharat just looks a little bit better overall, but this should be a very good fight. I'm interested to see where Matsumoto is because I do think this is towards the better level of competition that he's fought so far. I mean, Rob Font's fantastic, but he was 37 years old at the time. Katona, you never know where he's at.
Katona's good. Come on.
And then Miles Johns. So which and Miles Johns is good. He's serviceable, but you know exactly what you're going to get out of him. So I think Basharat's just more well-rounded overall, and I do not like how many things Matsumoto allows in fights. He's constantly giving up takedowns, strikes, position, and then he has to fight and crawl his way back to win. So I don't know that Basharat's going to let him do that, and I'm going to pick Basharat to get the win here.
This is my underdog play of the card. I'm on John Matsumoto. I like where he is. I actually like where he is as a fighter. Really good striker. I think on the feet is the biggest challenge that Basharat is going to have. I think Matsumoto is slick on the feet and can really cause issues here. It's going to be those takedowns, but I've continued to see the improvements from John Matsumoto, both in the takedown defense and that he's able to get back up. So when he doesn't get taken down, I mean, who's Basharat fought in terms of stand with him? Chris Gutierrez, okay, he took him down, like he takes guys down, and could that happen here? Sure, but I think Matsumoto continues to make the improvements, and I think this is going to be a close fight on the feet. I'm down for the 7,200. I think the line is too wide. I kind of know what Javid Basharat is, and I think Matsumoto is kind of on the upswing here. I believe Basharat is an undefeated fighter. I think he takes his first L here. It is a big swing for me, but I'm going to go ahead and take John Matsumoto. I think regardless whether you agree with the take or not, you need to play Matsumoto in cash games for this very high goes to decision number and super cheap price. And that's besides the fact I think he's a live dog. All those three things together, he's got to be in your cash game lineup, kind of period. I'll take him for the straight up upset. Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, Marc-André Barriault. This is the GPP fight of the card. Oleksiejczuk is minus 450. Barriault is plus 350. Your fight ends inside the distance is minus 400. Under 1.5 rounds is minus 160. Some big old numbers there among some big old guys swinging leather. Who takes it?
I mean, I got to go with Oleksiejczuk here. He only gets submitted, and Barriault's got one submission in his entire life. So that's not the most likely thing. And Barriault also has been finished 3 times in the very first round, and 8 of 9 UFC wins for Oleksiejczuk are finishes. They are first round finishes, and they are KO TKO finishes. So that right there is about it. Oleksiejczuk is going to probably finish this dude the first round. That's what we're hoping. He's 9,100. He will be in a bunch of my lineups for sure. But I'll play a little bit of Barriault. His only win in the past 5 has been Bruno Silva, in which he finished him real quick in about a minute and a half. Nurmagomedov, I don't put a ton of stock into that one. A lot of people say he looked pretty good, but I don't value Nurmagomedov too highly for the most part. Never have, and he hasn't shown me why I should. Stoltzfus, Pfeiffer, Chris Curtis, these are all okay losses. Nothing crazy. It's what I would expect out of Marc-André Barriault. Oleksiejczuk also lost to Nurmagomedov by decision, which is one of the only times he's ever been to decision. maybe the only time. I'm not. Nope, Jacoby took him as well. So guys that only strike and that just kind of don't land knockdowns, I should say. Apparently that's his kryptonite. But yeah, he loses to Holland, Michel Pereira before whatever happened to Michel Pereira happened. And yeah, Marc-André Barrio overall one of the worst defensive numbers on the card besides whoever Cachoeira is who we were talking about. So they're like neck and neck for really, really bad defense. He allows over 5.5 strikes a minute. He's been chinned before, and he's got nothing much else going for him. So actually, Oleksiejczuk lands more takedowns per 5 minutes than Barrio does, if that tells you anything at all. So I got to go with Oleksiejczuk. He's been looking better and better since he's been working with the new camp. I think he's happy there. He's got his brother there. I think things are looking up and up for Oleksiejczuk. So this is a good step up after Dumas, after Mearshart, to get his third win in a row. And 9,100 is a pretty damn good salary to test that out on.
Pretty much agree. I'm going to be overweight to both sides, though, but I'm on Oleksiejczuk. Too violent, too aggressive. Barrio gets hit too much. Willing dance partner, all good and all. Give me Oleksiejczuk, though. I would be surprised if Marc-André Barrio got it. You know, Oleksiejczuk's going to be so popular that I say overweight to both sides. But if Oleksiejczuk, I need to get leverage there. If I have to play so much where I can only get field weight or even less to Barrio, okay. Like the priority here is Michael Oleksiejczuk. I think he wins. I think he's, like you said, the improvements in the camp, the way Barrio's hittable, just too much going against Barrio here. Give me Oleksiejczuk in all formats. I'm even willing to play him in cash games, even though it's a high volatility fight. Jailton Almeida taking on Rizvan Kuniev. Jailton Almeida, minus 149. Comeback on Kuniev is plus 129. Fight ends inside the distance, minus 220, about 50-50 under 1.5 rounds. So looks good on paper for another GPP fight, which we needed a few of these. So we get them here on the back end of this card. Your DraftKings salaries for this one: Almeida is 8,500. Kuniev is 7,700. This is the best mid-range fight if you want to consider it a mid-range fight. There's, it's fourth from the middle, so I guess you can, just based on tiers. This is one to get a ton of. Monk, who you got?
Well, let's just look at the Curtis Blades Kuniev fight. Blades took him down 2 of 15 times, controlled him for over a round total, and easily won that fight. He outstruck him. It was perfect from Curtis Blades, and I think that why couldn't the exact same game plan happen here from Almeida, who is going to, if he could, attempt 15 fucking takedowns, land a bunch of them, and get a ton of control time to tire Rizvan out. So especially in round one, I think Rizvan is an okay play at 7,700 in case you want to think that he can get some big strikes landed early.
Remember, Almeida took down Curtis Blades 9 times before he got knocked unconscious.
Well, yeah, but
I'll never forget that.
I don't think Kuniev is any Curtis Blades, but I guess we will see. This dude has 2 DWCS fights and gets thrown in or asked in. I don't know about or against Curtis Blades. I don't really know how that maths out, but it is what it is. So yeah, I mean, Curtis put the blueprint out there. That's all you got to do, and that turns out to be exactly what Jailton Almeida does. So as long as he doesn't stand against the cage bent over with his head by the dude's waist getting elbowed, I think that he's going to do pretty well here. 8,500 is a great salary for Almeida if he does get those rinse and repeat takedowns. And of course, there's always a chance for a finish, even though it would be Rizvan's first. So don't count out Kuniev because anything could happen. Get, like you said, huge GPP fight here, but I'll be firmly in the Almeida camp for this one for sure.
Yeah, Rizvan, you have to remember, he was in the PFL how long ago?
I don't even know. He's in
no,
the DWCS in the 21 and 24.
Yeah,
so he
won against Henan Ferreira and then popped hot.
Yeah,
that's right. I had to look that up quick. Look, he had split decision loss against Curtis Blades, but Almeida's going to bring the grappling even heavier. I think people are going to shit on Almeida this week because he lost his last fight against Volkov where he did the lay and pray shit. I think he's going to have learned from that. I think he knows he needs to be more active on the ground, look for submissions, land strikes. I'm going to assume he's made improvements from that. Could I be wrong? Sure, but his style is great for DraftKings, goes for takedowns, doesn't have the best control, can get takedowns again. Maybe he'll secure him and do something a little bit different, but regardless, at mid-range, any score here is good. Like any kind of halfway decent score is going to pay off. And he's got an opponent who's more than capable of giving up takedowns. I don't think Kuniev's any kind of great grappler. I think that what was the takedown count in the Blades Kuniev fight? Blades was 2 of 15. Remember, I did say it earlier. What was it? Almeida was 9 of 13 taking down Curtis Blades, by the way, which is, I mean, Curtis Blades, the wrestler, was able to get back up. So I don't think Almeida's going to abandon it. Way better BJJ than Blades, obviously. I think there's past the scores on both sides here, but Almeida is small for the weight class. Kuniev's a big guy, can absolutely catch Almeida coming in. I'm going to side with Almeida. I think the more important play here for DraftKings is just to get overweight to both sides. In terms of betting, I think it's lined appropriately. I don't think I would touch this one for betting. I really kind of would just go, okay, and move on, because even your under 1.5 rounds is minus 160. I think it's lined appropriately everywhere. I agree with the quick finish. I agree with Almeida being the favorite, and that's really what I want to focus on for DFS. Co-main event time, Amir Albazi and Kyoji Horiguchi. Horiguchi is the favorite at minus 365. Albazi, the comeback, is at plus 290. Your fight goes to decision. Prop is minus 200, which is sad because that means you have to consider Albazi in cash games, and I fucking hate him. But that's okay because I have John Matsumoto to go to. But you need to look at Albazi, maybe run those double dogs. It's probably consideration this week. DraftKings salaries, Horiguchi's 9,300, Albazi is 6,900. Not a great fight to target, in my opinion. And I really hate that it seems like everybody caught on that Kyoji Horiguchi is still really good and Albazi is probably overhyped. Because we were on both of those trains. I'm still victory lapping Kyoji Horiguchi's last fight. I think that's one of the better calls I've had in a minute. Made us some money on that one. Great display. I was hoping we get a good. I was hoping for like pick him here against Albazi. You know, top 5 guy. I was really hoping, and then it comes out, and I go, motherfucker. Like I would have had a big bet if this line was close. These numbers, you can't do it. I'll talk more about the DFS implications in a second. Monk, who do you have for the fight?
Yeah, we got to go with Horiguchi here, but I'm not looking forward to this one for DFS. I mean, Albazi hasn't fought in over a year, lost to Brandon Moreno. Nothing really happens in Albazi fights. Like, he did knock down Costa twice, but other than that, I mean, we're at like 2 strikes a minute, 3 strikes a minute, under 2, under 3. With
43 strikes in a 5-round fight against Kaikara France. That was terrible. A highway fucking robbery.
Yeah, it was. Even on paper, it was just terrible. Only like I think the most takedowns he's landed is 2, if I'm not mistaken, in a fight. The control time was there against Kaikara France and Costa, but he that's about it for the most part. And you're not going to do that against Kyoji Horiguchi, who controls majority of the grappling time he's involved in. Albazi gets outstruck by a strike per minute. Horiguchi's takedown defense is not the best at 55%. But he knows how to reverse things. He knows how to get out of stuff, and he lands more takedowns per minute in his UFC career than or per 5 minutes than Amir Albazi does. So I just don't trust Albazi. His offense is just not where it needs to be. He's under the 50th percentile in almost every single category. And Horiguchi just he's very consistent from round to round. In fact, his 3rd round is when he does basically his best work. 2nd and 3rd rounds, he is smashing his opponents in the UFC. He's on paper, he's won 8 of 9 round 2s and like 7 of however many. It's been a bunch of round 3s as well. So I just got to go with that. If you're telling me this is going to decision, Albazi, maybe he tries to do something in the 1st round, but Horiguchi sticks around and then just dominates him rounds 2, rounds 3, maybe lands with some power. Maybe gets takedowns of his own, control time, and a little ground and pound. So I just like Horiguchi more this week. The salaries are very good at 93, and it's not very good, but it's decent.
And they're not good. The salaries
at
are not
93.69. So he could score well and pay it off, but I'm not banking on that. I'd rather pay down 200 for Oleg Zacic. especially in GPP fights. So there's other options around where I just don't think you really need a ton of them in your lineups.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think likely to go to decision, not likely to see a ton of grappling. Not a high volume fight from either guy, really. As much as I like Horiguchi, he's not crazy high volume. Going to be under to the fight. It actually makes Albazi the better DFS play, which is wild, even though I don't think he wins. I just think Kyoji is better, even at his age. Love me Kyoji Horiguchi in this spot. I talked about it a little bit earlier before Mug Wet, so I won't rehash it, but I think he, again, the line and price takes him out of play, but he is the pick. And I begrudgingly would play some Albazi. We are at the main event already. Mario Bautista, Vinicius de Oliveira. Mario Bautista is the favorite, minus 185. Oliveira, lock dog, is the dog at plus 160 in the comeback. Fight ends inside the distance, is ever slow, slightly favored, if I remember. It is minus 155. It's actually trending that way. No, it was minus 170 or earlier in the week. So it's trending towards being a decision either way. It's like 50-50, a little bit less. Vegas is predicting about 4 rounds of action here. Your DraftKings salaries. Mario Bautista comes in at 8,800. Vinicius Oliveira at 7,400. Monk, no intro for me. I'll give you the floor without any big setup for the main event. Who you got?
Yeah, this is the first 5-round fight for either of these guys in the UFC. I love Loke Dog here, but I've got to go with Mario Bautista. Go back and watch the Sopage finish. That's one of the greatest finishes I've ever seen, and I will stand by that.
You're going to see it 50 times this week.
Oh, and I'll watch every single one of them with glee in my eyes. But Bautista's fought the much tougher competition overall. I mean, just between Aldo and Nurmagomedov, I mean, that kills all of Said Nurmagomedov for Oliveira, Kyler Phillips. He also fought Ricky Simone as well. But yeah, I just think the competition, there's no joke. I think people hate Mario Bautista because he shouldn't have beaten Jose Aldo because he didn't do anything against one of the greatest fighters of all time. He didn't let him, get his game off, and people are dumb for hating him for that, in my opinion. I think he's extremely talented. Oliveira lands a shitload of volume at over 5 per minute. Bautista lands 5.6. He's got takedowns. He's got some control time. He lands almost half a takedown per 5 minutes. The offensive numbers are fantastic. Defensive numbers are not the best, but, especially compared to Oliveira, but he's fought the much, much tougher competition. Like we said, Oliveira is just, coming up as far as the UFC ladder goes. And Bautista's been there and been fighting. And more importantly, been winning against everyone not named Umar Nurmagomedov for the most part in like 8 fights. So I got to go with Bautista here. 5 rounds. I mean, I probably would say this goes to decision, but like I said, this is their first 5-round fight in the UFC, so we really don't know. I think it's going to go at least 3, probably at least 4. But I think it's safe to play either one. I think you have to play either one. I think it's going to be a very close fight because I think Oliveira is not underrated because a lot of people rate him pretty highly, but I think this could be, if it goes his way, this could be a breakout fight for him. If he beats Mario Bautista, I'm going to value him extremely highly because I think Bautista's no joke. So give me Mario Bautista to get the win. I'm playing both sides in GPPs, probably playing at least one side in cash, and at least at 88 and 74. So I'm going with Bautista here. Just has proven it for longer at this point. That's it.
And both guys have good volume. Bautista can get takedowns. He's projected to get 4 to 4.5 rounds. It's a cash game. It's a stack cash game in a really close fight. I'm going to stack it if you're playing cash games. 100% for me. I'm also on Mario Bautista. Pretty much the reason you mentioned Vinicius Oliveira is explosive. Bautista is measured, more technical, has been there. But it's MMA. We know it's high volatility. If someone's going to land a spectacular knockout, it's probably Vinicius Oliveira.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he gets reckless, and then Bautista is super high level.
Yeah.
I think it's what's being
He's a
lost
great
a
game planner too.
Yeah, I think it's what's being lost a little bit in other people breaking this fight down. I think Vegas has it right. I agree with the line. So betting wise, I don't think I would really bet on this fight straight up. I might take a prop. Surprisingly enough, I would look at Bautista by finish. Like that's the prop I would consider because I think Oliveira is going to fade. I worry about his cardio as well. I also think he could leave openings. If Bautista's, I think Bautista is more live to a finish than the odds would indicate. That'd be where I look betting wise. Already said we're going to stack it up. It's not an all-in fight for me on DraftKings because we're expected to see the scorecards ish or get late and striking, but it's more so I'm worried about how highly these guys are going to be owned. This is a main event where the main event fighters to me aren't priorities. There's somebody I don't want to get lost when I'm making my exposures, but I'm not prioritizing either one of them. And because Oliveira is a dog and with the potential for a big score, I likely can't end up underweight on him. So it's really going to get interesting, and we'll talk about more. And the builder shows this week at DFS Army and in the Discord, so make sure you join there. Link in the description to have those conversations. But I will take Mario Bautista for the straight up pick. Do not go anywhere yet. We have to talk about kill shots. Kill shots, if you don't know, it is an under-owned GPP play that can help you take the whole thing down, make the money. No chalk, no main event. For me, it's straightforward. You know who mine is. Give me Jean Matsumoto. I think he's going to surprise some people. I know he's given up takedowns before. I know Basharat hasn't lost and is good, but I really think this kid Matsumoto is very good on the feet and is making his improvements in the grappling. I like him to have a breakout performance. Is it a risk? Absolutely, but he's 7,200. It's a risk I'm willing to take. Monk, how about for you?
Well, I'm going to surprise everyone and say the words Priscila Cachoeira at 7,600.
It's a high volatility fight, I guess.
Oh yeah. When she wins, she's scoring 103. I just don't like any of the any more underdogs. Like Nurmagomedov, I don't expect to score well. I just don't like anybody else. I mean, I'm not picking Oliveira main event. I mean, there's nobody else for. I mean, Wikłacz is too expensive in my opinion.
I can give you an honorable mention that'll blow people's mind.
Yeah, let's do it.
Bruna, Brazil.
Yeah, that's I mean, for me personally, I try to keep it like lower end. The 7,800 is an underdog, but it's still a little too high.
Thinking
for me.
About salary and give me favorites. Like even I honestly, you know what's fucked up? You could say Kyoji Horiguchi this week. That's fun. Like that's the concept of a kill shot. It's not a dog. It's somebody. He's going to be dick owned at 9,300. He's not going to be high owned. I wouldn't do it.
9K isn't 9K. There's nobody there. It's Basharat, who's nobody's going to play. It's
I guess we'll
9,100 Oleg Zacic, and it's Cong Wang. That's it.
My point is, I hate the idea of the salaries factoring into the quote unquote kill shot. It is who is the field not going to play that you should play regardless of salary. That's how I look at it.
Cachoeira for sure. Nobody's going to play her.
I don't hate that one either. That is a high volatility. That's the fight where people could turn on their TVs 30 minutes late and see somebody, Priscilla included, scored 125 and they didn't play him and they're dead to the fucking optimal.
Yep.
It's totally possible. That fight it's also, by the way, a fight where the winner could score 55. I don't think so because Priscilla's crazy, but
right.
It's a weird one. I like being overweight to that. I like the call. I'm with you. All right, that's what we got for UFC Fight Night. Bautista versus Oliveira. Do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, both at Sniper Wins, at DFS Army. Go follow Monk. Check out his Patreon at Monk Maddox. Sign up at DFS Army. Link down below. Monk, are you going to miss me? We're not going to see you for 3 weeks. We're off next week. I got 2 on vacation. We're going to talk in Discord, but you're going to miss these?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. People hope you like bald bearded guys because that's all you're going to see for the next 2 weeks after next week. So we'll keep it going. We'll see if you put your kill shots or anything in the chat before I do the show, and we'll be sure to talk about them. But yeah, we've got a week off and then we're back on it. So I'm super excited still about 2026, loving it on Paramount Plus. Seems like they fixed a couple of the issues they had with commercials being aired in between rounds while guys were talking, coaches were talking. So I didn't see much of that last week. So we're making improvements. It's getting to be a very good product, I think.
Yeah, and by the way, I'll have, if you're watching the DFS Army YouTube channel, I'll get Monk all my stuff. My YouTube channel, it just won't be as scheduled as usual. I'm going to be traveling on a cruise ship, on doing stuff, but I'm addicted to this stuff and I like putting out the content anyway. So it just won't be as tightly scheduled, and it'll be me on my Mac. So we'll still do our best, but you'll get all the great content. So make sure you're checking that out everywhere. Monk, great talking to you as always. DFS Army members, I'll see you at the top of the leaderboards and in the Discord. Good luck. We'll see you next time.